After a viral clip of Kodak Black had the internet buzzing and fans seriously questioning his state of mind, the conversation quickly took a deeper turn. What started as concern in comment sections soon became a full-blown debate across social media. Then Boosie Badazz stepped in with a public post saying Kodak needs real help, and that's when the situation stopped being just talk and started getting personal.
I don't even know what's going on, so why y'all speaking on I don't know. You snitching!
Kodak Black decided to handle the situation his own way, and the move he made next didn't just feel different, it completely caught people off guard. The tension started building again in February 2026 when a clip surfaced showing him performing at a show in Texas, and fans quickly began speculating because he appeared off balance and had to be supported by security on stage. Reports started circulating that he arrived several hours late, and within no time that footage was everywhere online, spreading across timelines and blogs. Boosie Badazz reacted fast. He jumped into the comment section and suggested that Kodak needed help. And just like that, the long-standing tension between them was back in the spotlight. But this wasn't the first time Boosie had publicly spoken on Kodak in that way. He's been vocal about him for months, honestly. For years, and every time he shares his opinion, Kodak doesn't stay quiet for long. This time was no different. Kodak went live and addressed Boosie directly, calling out what he described as a repeated pattern of speaking on his name publicly instead of handling things privately.
I'm a realist, bro. I'm a realist.
Kodak Black was making it clear he sees himself a certain way, and having Boosie Badazz go online and paint him like he's some loose cannon didn't match the image Yak believes he carries. He felt like his name was being framed wrong in public, and that didn't sit right with him at all. But what he said next is what really had everybody in the hood and across social media talking heavy.
You snitching. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of little like, man, come on.
Now that word right there is heavy. In the streets, calling somebody a snitch can permanently damage their reputation and how people look at them. Kodak Black wasn't saying Boosie Badazz was working with law enforcement or anything like that. What he meant was that Boosie was putting his personal business out for the whole world to judge. In Kodak's eyes, blasting someone's private struggles and habits on the internet counts as its own form of crossing the line. He was basically telling Boosie that speaking on another man's life publicly like that, especially online, is a serious violation of street code.
Stop playing with me on this internet. I swear to God. Real for real.
Kodak Black was keeping it completely real. No subliminals, no coded talk, none of that. He looked straight into the camera and told Boosie Badazz to fall back. Then he doubled down, saying he doesn't involve himself in other people's business the way Boosie keeps inserting himself into his.
Try to see, I don't want to be trying to care about your business.
Kodak drew a clear line right there. He said he's not the type to jump online and speak on what's happening in Boo's house. So he couldn't understand why Boosie kept doing that to him. Then Yak made it personal, bringing up his own family's experiences with people spreading things publicly.
My brother got told on. I got told when I was in carjacking. What is you?
That was Kodak connecting Boosie's public commentary to something deeper than just rap tension. He took it to heart. To him, this wasn't a small industry back and forth that felt like exposure. He compared it to being told on in the streets, which where they're from is considered one of the worst things you can do. Boosie, on his side, had already addressed the situation. He admitted fans were pressing him about speaking on different topics, including matters related to Young Thug, and that Kodak had been responding to him. But Boosie said he was facing much bigger issues at the time.
Like, all this shit I'm going through right now, like, man, I shouldn't even have no energy for this. Like, I'm going through real gangster shit.
Boosie explained that federal gun charges were hanging over him, with sentencing approaching fast. He made it clear he didn't have the mental space to focus on whatever Kodak had going on.
I can't be going back and forth on the internet, but like, especially
Then Boosie added another layer by saying that him and Kodak were both trying to succeed from the same opportunities, dealing with the same industry circles.
I'm trying to get the same thing you got from the same people. And you know that, bro. Come on, type of shit you want.
That statement suggested Boosie didn't see Kodak as an enemy, but as someone who should understand their shared position in the game. Still, Kodak wasn't accepting that angle. In his eyes, Boosie kept putting his name out there for no reason, and he wanted it to stop completely.
I give a fuck about you in the screen, you rap, you.
That line summed up Kodak Black's entire stance in this clash. He didn't view Boosie Badazz as someone with the authority to comment on his personal life to him. Boosie was just another rapper, nothing more. This wasn't about who had the stronger discography. It was about one man telling another to stop speaking on him publicly, and the other refusing to back down. The February 2026 moment was only the latest chapter. The roots of the situation go back to 2023, and what happened that year set everything in motion. Before the diss tracks, the public call-outs, and the online back and forth that had fans picking sides, their relationship looked more like mutual respect. It felt like an OG and a young rising artist dynamic. Boosie had praised Kodak's raw talent in interviews, saying he had that natural gift you either have or you don't. He even shared a story about pulling Kodak aside and advising him to leave Florida, warning that the environment around him was toxic and that trouble seemed to follow him. It was the kind of advice an older figure gives out of genuine concern, knowing a younger one might not listen but still needs to hear it. And Kodak later acknowledged that dynamic himself in his own lyrics. He admitted he once looked up to Boosie a line that would later be flipped during their tension. But before all the smoke and statements, that respect was real. There was a mentorship vibe between Boosie Badazz and Kodak Black, even if informal, and even if they weren't around each other every day. That whole dynamic got shattered in the summer of 2023, all because of one name loaded with controversy in hip-hop, Tekashi 6ix9ine. In July 2023, Kodak linked with 6ix9ine on the track Shakalaka. In the culture, 6ix9ine had cemented himself as the most notorious rat in modern rap. He testified in federal court against his own crew, making him untouchable in street credibility circles. The collaboration sparked massive debate, but for Boosie, this was an agree-to-disagree moment. He went scorched earth on Kodak immediately, making it clear there would be no pass not for money, not for clout, not for anything. His critique was sharp and personal. No amount of bread could ever justify working with someone who violated the most basic street code. Boosie went further, questioning Kodak's street credibility entirely, suggesting he hadn't truly lived the life he raps about. Coming from someone like Boosie, who's done real time and is seen as one of the most authentic voices out of the South, that hit hard. For Boosie, the issue wasn't just the collab itself, it was what it represented, a willingness to compromise principles for a check. Kodak responded by reposting a video calling Boosie a clown, dismissing the criticism as an older head trying to stay relevant by policing the younger generation's moves. It was the first real exchange of smoke between Kodak Black and Boosie Badazz, setting a pattern that would repeat for years. Boosie stepped into the role of accountability police, while Kodak questioned whether Boosie even had the right to check anyone. The tension escalated fast after that initial backdash in Dash 4, BY August 2023. Boosie took the situation to wax, dropping the diss track Ungrateful aimed directly at Kodak over the 6ix9ine collab, accusing him of trashing his own reputation through reckless moves and questionable associations. The track was raw and uncut, carrying the weight of someone who felt personally disrespected. To Boosie, Kodak's move wasn't just a bad business decision. It was a violation of the culture they both came up in. Ungrateful channeled all that frustration into music, marking the first time either artist used bars as a direct weapon in the beef. Then money entered the situation. In November 2023, Boosie accused Kodak of jacking his sound, sampling his music without clearance or respect, adding a financial layer to what had already been intensely personal. It wasn't enough that Kodak had crossed a major line by working with a known snitch. Now he was profiting off Boosie's catalog while the beef raged. The sampling dispute turned the issue from principles to dollars, making it even harder to resolve. All the smoke from 2023 spilled into 2024 with no cool down. In February, Kodak responded with the track 11 AM in Malibu, launching a diss aimed straight at Boosie. The track reignited everything just as things had started to cool. Boosie Badazz fired back quickly, defending his stance and returning to the same points. Kodak was mishandling his talent, making poor decisions, and hurting himself more than any rival ever could. By March 2024, Boosie was telling anyone with a mic or camera that Kodak Black's career had been on a downward spiral since the 6ix9ine collab, framing Kodak's recent trajectory as a textbook case of self-sabotage. There was a brief moment in 2024 when it seemed like the tension might ease. Boosie went public, saying he was ending the beef, wishing Kodak well, and criticizing media for constantly pitting black artists against each other. It was a mature, stand-up moving olive branch that could have buried the conflict if both sides had agreed to let it go. But that truce was fragile. It wasn't long for this world. The 6ix9ine collab had sparked the initial fire, but the fuel keeping alive was something deeper: the drug issue. For Boosie, substance abuse was the underlying thread in almost every comment he made about Kodak, the unspoken reason behind calling Kodak's behavior crazy, and the driver behind moments when he shifted from sounding like an opponent to offering guidance like an OG who's been through the same struggles. The clearest example came when Kodak faced legal trouble, and the details of his arrest circulated. Boosie spoke on it in an interview, blending humor with genuine concern, a mix that has defined his approach throughout this entire saga.
Kodak Black just got arrested.
Yeah.
Apparently, he was high off something. He fell asleep in his car when the police pulled.
The details were wild. Boosie Badazz kept running through reports, and the picture he painted felt like something that teetered between heartbreaking and downright unbelievable.
They say that he had a mouthful of cocaine.
Yeah.
If that video comes out, if they had a body cam and you see Kodak
Slack with a mouthful of cocaine. That was shaping up to be the biggest meme of 2024. But even as he half laughed at the absurdity, Boosie caught himself mid-sentence. The jokes faded, replaced by a tone that carried genuine sadness.
Black with a mouthful of cocaine, that's going to be the biggest meme of 2024.
Boosie was nearly speechless at the visuals. He admitted that the situation had all the ingredients for the internet to tear it apart and run it into the ground.
I don't laugh because I don't laugh at people's troubles, bro. I got my own trouble.
The internet erupted. Kodak's defense denying coke, while casually admitting to meth and Percocets, became an instant symbol of everything critics said about his judgment. His so-called rebuttal was so baffling that it made the original accusation seem minor. Boosie didn't let it slide. His reaction carried the weary energy of a man watching someone drive off a cliff in slow motion while insisting they had control. Even with diss tracks, insults, and social media battles flying, Boosie's stance on Kodak substance issues wasn't about clicks, it was about pattern recognition.
He said that he doesn't do cocaine, he does meth and perks. Like, this is somehow better. Like, he said, I ain't no junkie.
That line shows Boosie holding two contradictory positions simultaneously without conflict. He's beefing with Kodak, yet genuinely worried about him. To Boosie, those things don't cancel each other out. He can believe Kodak is wrong, while also seeing him spiral and share both truths publicly. He went deeper, breaking down exactly how he recognized the signs, noting physical tells in Kodak's interviews that anyone familiar with addiction would notice immediately.
I told y'all before, man, even when me and Kodak had, I won't see him get help, bro.
Boosie wasn't speaking as an outsider who had Googled symptoms. He recognized the markers because he'd seen them before in others and in himself during his worst times. He referenced seeing Kodak on shows like Drink Champs and No Jumper, and the way Kodak carried himself physically confirmed what Boosie's gut had been telling him all along.
Hey, look, I know that shiny skin that...
What does shiny skin mean? What do you mean?
It's like a drug addict.
And then Boosie dropped the most revealing thing he said in the entire interview. He straight up admitted he had been in that same dark place himself. He said he used to be on PCP angel dust, and he recognized in Kodak's behavior and speech patterns the exact same things he'd gone through during his own lowest points. That admission flipped the entire conversation from one man checking another into something way more raw. A man looking at somebody younger and seeing a reflection of his own past staring right back at him. Whether Kodak received it that way is a whole different story. But for Boosie, the drug dimension of this beef was never just ammunition for a diss track. It was the beating heart of his frustration. Watching somebody with God-given undeniable talent choose the substances over stability and not being able to do a damn thing about it except talk, the Young Thug situation, and the snitching accusations. If the drug issue provided the emotional undercurrent running beneath this entire war, the September 2025 incident involving Young Thug injected it with completely different kind of venom, one rooted in the most sacred and most treacherous word in all of hip-hop, snitching.